After the coronavirus outbreak, racial discrimination and hate crimes toward Asians are rising. Anti-Asian racism and assaults are spreading across the world. Asians are called racial slurs and even physically assaulted on the street. In some schools, Asian students were suspended or forced to transfer. Asians are being discriminated against just for being Asian. On the subway in the German capital of Berlin, a Korean couple was harassed by German locals. German locals sexually harassed the wife and spat on the husband while shouting, "Corona, Happy Corona Day." The police were called in but refused to take their report. The couple was told that name-calling happens to people of color, but it is not a crime. In New York City in the USA, an Asian American woman was attacked with acid. Korean American actor John Cho publicly criticized Asian American discrimination.
Asian Americans are not conditional Americans, but fellow Americans. Don't minimize the hate or assume it's somewhere far away. It's happening close to you. If you see it on the street, say something. If you hear it at work, say something. Stand up for your fellow Americans.
Some action has been taken to stop anti-Asian violence and hate crimes surging after the pandemic. The Asian Pacific Policy and Planning Council created a website called Stop AAPI Hate. The website received over 1,500 reports of anti-Asian hate incidents in a month following its launch. The bigger problem is the media aggravating anti-Asian racism and hatred. The media are feeding misperception that Asians are the virus. In the wake of coronavirus, the media's racial bias has fueled anti-Asian sentiment. A German news magazine put "Coronavirus, Made in China" on its cover, fueling anti-Asian racism. A Danish newspaper published a caricature of the Chinese national flag with virus symbols in place of its 5 stars. A French newspaper printed the front page headline of "Alert John" with the picture of an Asian woman. An Australian newspaper used the subheading "Chinese Virus Pandemonium" on its front page. We were not safe from this kind of racism in the past as well. Do you know about the Holocaust and Auschwitz? The Holocaust was the Nazis' systematic murder of 17 million people. Among the 17 million victims were 6 million Jewish people, accounting for 2/3 of Europe's Jewish population. The other 11 million victims were non-Jewish Poles, political opponents, priests, prisoners of war, gypsies, gays, and people with disabilities. In 1940 in German-occupied Poland, Nazi Germany built the largest concentration and extermination camp called Auschwitz. Over 1 million people died at Auschwitz. Auschwitz survivor Marian Tursky shared his thought on the Holocaust.
Auschwitz did not fall from the sky. It started with small acts of discrimination like forbidding Jews from sitting on benches. It led to deportation, to ghettos, and to Auschwitz. Auschwitz crept up, step by step, came closer, until what happened here. If you become complacent, before you know it, some kind of Auschwitz will suddenly appear from nowhere. And Auschwitz will befall you and your descendants.
During the Holocaust, 17 million people were killed by the Nazis. The beginning was small acts of discrimination. Genocides like the Holocaust start with everyday discrimination and complacency. Amid the pandemic, racial discrimination and hate crimes are on the rise. We must stop them. If we become complacent with racial bias and day-to-day discrimination, another genocide or some kind of Auschwitz will befall us and our descendants. What we should truly fear is not the coronavirus. What we should truly fear is the dangerous misperception of Asians as the virus. Asians are not the virus. We are in it together to fight the virus. VANK started a global petition to stop anti-Asian racism and discrimination, spreading across the world. Your participation in the petition is the vaccine for the virus of racial hatred.